Zenless Zone Zero is a game known for a lot of things. Its freeform and bouncy animations, its action-packed gameplay, excessive amounts of fan service, lots of things, really. But today I wanted to highlight the characters, the people that make ZZZ, well, ZZZ. And I'm going to be trying to find one thing I dislike about each and every character in ZZZ. Now, my opinions can range from one of three things when talking about each character: visual design, gameplay design, or other weird niche factors. I'll try to keep my reasons down to a minimum of either 1 to 2, but I can't guarantee that I won't ramble on about favorites or dislikes a lot. Before we get started, be sure to leave a like on this video if you want to see more gacha content from me, and subscribe to help support the channel even more. Now, let's get started by going in alphabetical order. Alexandrina Sebastian. Head maid of Victoria Housekeeping and an OG fan favorite amongst 1.0 players. Her backstory is great and her design is very visually appealing for those who adore maids, so what could I possibly hate about such a beautiful woman like Rina? The game keeps giving me her. This character is currently M3 and is on track to be my first M6 S-rank character, and I absolutely hate it. Her gameplay is so unsatisfying too. Her evasive assist takes forever to do, and you can't EX skill after it either. And the fact that I have 4 copies of her, yet her weapon is nowhere to be found, is absolutely atrocious. I literally have every other standard character's respective W engine but Rina's, and it's been driving me nuts. I dislike a lot of things about Rina, but the part that I suppose I hate the most is just her overall gameplay. She's very fast and fluid, yes, but I spend most of my time playing her waiting for my next opportunity to swap off, which is usually the moment after I press EX skill. But she is a good unit for my mono-electric teams, and my Harumasa has been enjoying that extra pen ratio, so I can't really be too mad at her. Anby Damara, our favorite hamburger-eating neurodivergent queen. She's been with us since the beginning and is quite literally Miss Zenless herself. Other than sharing the voice of 2 of my other favorite gacha game characters, I don't really dislike much about this character, except for the fact that she's kinda just a drag to play as. No disrespect to Miss Zenless, but I just do not enjoy playing her after being spoiled with the other stunners I've gotten on my account. Her combos are definitely the coolest thing about her, but what's the point in trying to do combos when either A, the enemy gets stunned before you can even get your skill off, or B, the enemies keep spamming attacks forcing you to dodge counter and reset the combo every time. Anby does have fun gameplay, but she suffers from being a single target stunner in an era where everyone else has such massive AoE days buildups. Even characters like Caesar outclass her simply because she can group enemies a lot better than Anby. And just a reminder, this isn't some viability / tier list thing. I'm just genuinely prefer to not use Anby if it means using a different agent with a more satisfying playstyle. Sorry, I've already dealt with another hamburger eating emotionless shorty, and I definitely don't need another one. Anton Ianov. Where do I even begin, dude? His design is horrible. Oh my goodness. He looks like the cursed love child between Yugi and Seto Kaiba. His in-game face model is even worse, arguably. And what the ever-living flark is that massive side bang on his head? This is coming from someone who loves spiky hair too. This is ridiculous. His outfit low-key isn't that bad. I mess with the suspenders a lot, actually. The weapon is hard too. But his gameplay is probably the worst style I've ever seen in any hack and slash game. You spend all this time building up meter with these weak basics, and then once you do have the meter, you just hold down one button for the entire rotation, and then that's it. Nothing else. Just charge your meter, hold down a button. Now, in stun phase, this feels amazing because he just shreds, but his animations take so long to do to the point where the stun phase is already over by the time he's in the second stance of his EX skill. And I could probably excuse all of this nonsense, forgive all of Mr. Ianov's blemishes, if it wasn't for the fact that he was voiced by flarking Sayu. Sayu is not a bad voice actor by any means. He's done amazing work as Jing Yuan and other work in other animes, right? But I do not need to hear him in every gacha game that I play. He's even invading the JRPGs too, with the worst performance of Akihiko known to mankind.
I've been waiting for this!
But that's a take for another video. Again, I don't hate Sayu, I think he's a wonderful voice actor, but Anton himself is just a mess of a character and I dislike everything about him. Moving on, Asaba Harumasa. Oh, I could take a breather on this one. Asaba is one of my favorite characters, and I'd argue that he's the best written in all of ZZZ. But one thing that I don't like about him is probably the fact that his gameplay loop is pretty bipolar. Stay with me now. Playing as Harumasa is very fun, but there are times where I'm proccing anomalies and I see the quivers pop up and my brain immediately goes, oh shoot, I should switch to Haru and get these dash attacks in. And that I do end up doing. I dash, I slash, I hero, and see all the effects on screen, and it's a really fun time. But then there's the part where he doesn't have energy to do EX skill. That's when things start to feel underwhelming. Yes, if you keep doing basics, he does put up quivers, which allow you to do dashes, but enemies are always doing something every 5 seconds, and the string takes just about that amount of time to set up. So by the time I do get to the 5th basics, it's time for me to either parry or dodge. I'd rather swap out and trigger an anomaly with either Yanagi or Miyabi, rather than waste time doing physical damage not building up anomaly with his basics. This character was designed to do one thing and one thing only, dash attack, and playing this character without any resources to do so is pretty lame. Granted, it is very overstimulating to see the quivers pop up every 15 seconds and trying to swap to him mid-fight, but all of that dopamine goes away the moment he runs out of resources, and it kind of just kills the vibe for me, I think. By no means does this make Haru bad in any way, I'm just saying that I don't like how I feel like I've been left to dry after blowing this character. I mean blowing everything on this character. Astra Yao, I don't like her bangs. Go get a haircut. Also, I think that this character looks better with a smaller rack, but what's a bundle of sticks like me to judge a beautiful woman like her? Just saying, this mod right here is pretty life-changing. Ben Bigger. Oh boy, I can feel the divorce papers piling up after this one. One thing I dislike about Ben is just how slow he is to use overall. This is a common complaint with him, and rightfully so, seeing as everything about him from his run speed to attack animations are pretty slow and hefty. Regardless, I still love this bear with all of my heart. He just suffers from the big guy equals slow syndrome. Billy Kid. Good old robot Deadpool. I don't like this character's dash attack. I don't know what it is, but I just don't like how it feels in comparison to his chain attack. Maybe it just comes down to personal preference, but I think that if his chain attack and dash attack were swapped, it'd be a lot more satisfying to play. This could be my hottest take ever about ZZZ, but I don't really dislike anything else about this character that's noteworthy. Next up is Burnice White. Can't really speak much about her since I don't have her, but I guess I don't really like how short her skirt is. I know, shocking take from me. I get that she's very reckless with fire, so the Hoyoverse doesn't give women pants take isn't really gonna work here, but whenever I start a chain attack whenever I'm using her in trial mode, I have to look away from my screen because why is she airing out her hoochie mama like that? Her gameplay is fine, and I love the toxic Yuri between her and Paltra, or would it be Burning Yuri since it's Burnice? But I just can't help but feel like some sick freak whenever I start a chain attack with her. At least with all the other women in this Gooner game, they're at least covered up or just breasting boobily. But this is absurd. Nah, I'm just kidding. I don't really care too much. But that's the only thing that I could really find about Miss White Woman right here. Caesar King, the goofiest protagonist I've ever seen. I dislike two things about her specifically, and they're both related to her gameplay. I do not like her extended basic attack. As much as I love Sword and Shield and Monster Hunter, I do not want to be doing a Shoryugeki every 5 seconds. You're also locked out of doing your EX skill in the air, which is why I dislike this string a lot. The second thing I dislike about her is her defensive assist. On paper, it is a shield block, a sword toss, and then ends with a shield bash into a shield slash. But I absolutely hate how flimsy this attack's sound design feels. Go ahead, take a listen to this. Okay, I get it. You're supposed to get the dopamine from landing the counter, and it is very satisfying. But every time I defensive assist with her, I just feel like she's tossing a fork back at the enemy. I really like this character, and she definitely grew on me from the story, so I can understand if I'm being a little too nitpicky here, but that defensive assist does not feel or sound good to do every time I do it. Next up is
Corin!
Oh no, you've already been disrespected enough, my sweet summer child. Corin Wicks. Or is it Wikis? When you press EX skill on this character, everything feels fantastic. But when you're not pressing EX skill on this character, everything feels terrible. And what sucks is that I love buzzsaw designs in video games. Using stuff like the Charge Blade's condensed spinning slash in Rise has been some of the most fun I've had with buzzsaws. But Corin just feels like Caesar's defensive assist, but as an entire moveset. Ellen Joe. I used to hate Ellen in the beginning of the game for some weird unknown reason, probably because I thought that she reeked and she was the embodiment of this image right here. But after reading her new agent story, I've grown to dislike her a little less now. Her design is great, but I'm just not really a fan of the maid/butler archetype in media. Also, her first skin being a boring schoolgirl outfit is pretty lazy, especially when her story has her in a way cooler outfit. But if I had to pinpoint one thing I specifically don't like about Miss Jo, it'd probably be down to her gameplay. Maybe I'm just Soldier 11 pilled, but from the times I got to play her, I never really got the dopamine levels I'd get from playing other characters whilst playing this character. I only really like her chain attack, but that's pretty much it. And spending a second or two to dash around and charge up an attack is pretty tedious, especially since Lycaon can just stun enemies in 2 to 3 hits normally. This Shark Theory isn't really that much of a bummer, though I can't justify pulling her on this rerun. Grace Howard. I actually really enjoy Grace in both lore and in gameplay design. She was one of my first S-rank characters and the first character that I got their signature W engine for, and she got me through the majority of chapter 2 and 3 in the story. The only thing that I could really think that I dislike is that she doesn't have a defensive assist. I get the reason as to why she does not have it, but I find it crazy how half of the tall women in this game have evasive assists, but all of the short little girls have defensive assists. If Neko can use these tiny ass dual blades to parry, then a nail gun should be able to do the same. For those of you saying that, oh, the physics wouldn't allow that to happen, this is a fictional universe with animal people and people who unironically watch these little things called bang boo twerk for hours on end. So sue me if I want my freaky ass mechanic lady who's publicly into robots to be able to parry with her nail gun. Oshimi Miya, absolutely nothing. This character is perfect, she is the pinnacle of ZZZ, and I have another character voiced by Christina V to obsess over in my catalog. Moving on. Jane Doe. I'm gonna take an obvious stab here, but I just do not like the way how this character was marketed. From the cop car short to the Apple scene, they just ruined all potential for a good reputation of ZZZ to the general public. I low-key like that the gooner aspect of this game has kept the tourist out, but I dislike that Jane was marketed in a way to be this dominatrix when her character is absolutely nothing like that at all. Is she seductive? Yes. Is she visually appealing to look at? Absolutely. But I hate how the community just ignores the fact that she's probably one of the top written characters in ZZZ's story. Although, I guess people aren't playing this game for that to begin with, so. Also, I hate that sometimes you can't get all of the hits of Slacho Jump because it pushes enemies back a lot of the time, but that's really it. This character is peak cinema. Koleda Bellabog, my OG stunner from back in the day. Gotta love her, especially since she's the only one in the game to have a special team-up move with Ben. The one thing I don't like about her is this head-ass secondary basic attack that she does sometimes. It takes so long, it is one of the most unsatisfying strings to hit in this game. It is cool that she has the only team up with Ben, but playing this character without him just feels terrible. Well, not terrible, but you know. And even then, Ben's quit Bellabog Heavy Industries to go join some random ass biker gang anyways, leaving Miss President in the dust here. Lighter. I'm gonna keep it $150. The only thing I dislike about this character is the fact that I had to go to hard pity to get him. Both limited male S ranks took me hard pity to get, and I absolutely hate it. This is some high level BS if I've seen anything. Anyways, this character's perfect. I love Alex Lee. Argue with Imama. Luciana de Montefi. How the f do you say this shit? Fucking Italians, man, I swear.
Montefiore.
Luciana de Montefiore. No disrespect to that new voice actor, but I hate her new voice. There's just something about hearing that good old beat it during the chain attack that just isn't there with a new voice actor. No disrespect to her or anything. She just sounds so mundane compared to 1.0 Lucy. Hoyoverse, respect your goddamn voice actors and pay them properly so that we don't have to lose out on peak like this again. Nekomata Mena. As someone who loves cat characters across all kinds of media, I can safely say that this is the worst cat girl I've ever laid my eyes upon. I'll ignore the fact that Robin's voice actress from Star Rail decided to downgrade to such bottom of the barrel filth like this. But I'm just gonna sit here and say that if you're a guy in your mid-20s and you say that this is your favorite character, I know exactly what you are and you should be ashamed of yourself. Nicole Demara. Okay, I love pink-haired women. So many of my favorite designs in gaming are pink-haired women, so Nicole is easily one of my favorites. The one thing I dislike the most about her is that she is the comedic relief character in nearly every piece of dialogue she has. I get it, she's broke. You don't have to remind me nearly every time she's on screen. Piper Wheel. When I expect a playable trucker character in a video game, I'm expecting a husky man in his 40s, beer belly hanging out of his stained white beater, and a worn out mesh cap that says something fishing related. This character is a little girl. I don't care if she's canonically in her 30s. This is a child. And if you like her in any way, again, I know what you are. We already have a better, stronger, and sexier adult woman who is a physical anomaly character. So there's no reason you should be using this character unless you absolutely need to. There was this one guy who ran Nekomata, Piper, and Lucy in the beginning of the game, and my YouTube shorts were just infested with his content. He would always make some sort of snarky quote about how he finds these 3 specific characters hot, and it was so weird, dude. This character is buns. This character blows, dude. Leave me alone. Get her out of here. Qingyi. You can probably sense a theme here with this ranking, but thankfully I don't dislike this little girl who's not really a little girl as vehemently as the others. I guess I just don't really like the dark green pigtails. Green is one of my least favorite colors, and I just don't vibe with it on her. That's all I got for her. Seth Lowell, our resident hero boy. This twink has been glued to every team Comp Jane is in ever since he's been released, and I'm honestly here for it. However, the one thing I dislike about Mr. Lowell is a bit more complicated, so allow me to explain. You guys know how Seth has this meter that allows him to do a charge attack that can be followed up, right? Yes, this move. Stay with me now. You also know that if Seth ends a chain attack, he can instantly start charging his EX skill. Why is it that Seth can only charge up from a chain attack and not from his enhanced basic attack? Again, I get it, you're supposed to do a quick assist after this move, but imagine how cool it would be to do enhanced basic, charge, EX skill into another enhanced basic, and then quick assist afterwards. That's like nearly half the stun gauge on most elite level enemies. Again, I understand why this isn't a thing, but I'm just saying that this character would be a lot more fun if you could do this. My Seth already sits on way too much energy on my Jane teams, and I could never find a way to efficiently dump all of it effectively. It could always be worse though, so I'm not complaining. Soldier 11. I hate how I can't trust rank 4 Soldier 11 yet. She better be able to do this in the next update or else I'm gonna flip out. But other than that, this character is perfect too. I love Miss 11 and I want to marry her, maybe, possibly. Moving on. Sokaku. This is another voice actor issue, but at least the current voice of her isn't as bad as the second voice they tried to give her. I don't know what they were cooking with that one, but it was beyond atrocious.
Just don't believe.
Oh, and I guess her chain attack as well, but that's already a super cold take that's been echoed a lot. Tsukishiro Yanagi, another beautiful and glorious pink-haired woman. I really don't like one of her stances. I don't remember which one it is between Jogen and Kagen, but it's the stance where she slashes a bunch of times and then teleports behind you. This is probably the least satisfying thing about her kit. Other than that, she is mother and I love her so much. Von Lycaon, the furry bait character. I don't like that when I press EX skill and an enemy jumps away, he loses all momentum and continues to do the kicks in place. Most characters have autocorrect and travel distance built into their EX skills, but Lycaon is the only one, to my knowledge, that suffers from this issue, I think. And last but not least, Zhu Yuan. I can't really think of anything that I particularly dislike about this character. I guess her gameplay is kind of lackluster when I played her, but that's really it. I don't have her, nor do I plan to get her anytime soon, but I have stolen her weapon from her twice. And also, I'm going to do a quick run through the characters that are soon to be released as well. Evelyn. Don't like her playstyle. Soldier still feels infinitely better and more solid to play. Super Soldier Anby. I hate that she is the first S-rank A-rank agent and not Billy. Trigger. She does not need to jiggle that much. The gun has less recoil than her. Also, this design is atrocious. And Pultra. The one thing that I'm going to hate the most about this character is that she's going to retain next to none of her qualities from her boss fight, and that is upset seeing that they could almost do something cool with the blue state for her dodges. And with that, I've stated at least one thing I dislike about every playable character in ZZZ. This is a fun little video that I wanted to do for a bit, and I'm pretty content with how it came out. I will be making some more videos talking about ZZZ, especially seeing as it's become a hot topic amongst Twitter as of late. So do be on the lookout for my next video. I also want to announce that I'm now officially part of the YouTube Partner Program, and it's all thanks to you guys. I've set up some of the basic membership features and plan to live stream some good old ZZZ on here from time to time. So if you want to support my channel and help me keep these videos going, definitely consider becoming a member. You'll get shouted out in the beginning of all of my future videos and a special role in my Discord server, which will be linked in the description. You guys are part of the reason why I wake up in the morning, and I would not want to have it any other way. So thank you to all of you who have watched this video all the way to the end, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.